Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Luke, aka KR's Taylor. Um, this is a continuation of a part series I've decided to do as a result of, you know, uh, the lengthy video I did a while back on the healing Esper. So I decided to break it down into parts, make it a little bit more simpler. So at some point, once I get everything kind of finalized, I'll be making a written video, or a written video, a written guide with these videos posted in them, so that any healing Esper out there that's new or maybe even experienced can pop in, maybe learn a couple things, maybe add to the discussion, and make things cool for everybody. Make things better for everyone. Um, so anyway, in this video, I'm going to talk about like a dungeon build that I would run, and I'm only going to be covering the abilities as the amps, and the way I'm going to be covering future builds will not change. So I'm not going to talk about the amps and save that for another video. But anyway, let's talk about a general dungeon build that I would be running. So first thing that I will do or talk about, first ability on my bar is Bolster. It's essentially a heal over time, and you start with 2 ability charges. So it's a targeted ability. You target a player, you hit the button, it puts the hot on. So again, you have 2 charges of that. I tier for it because after 12 seconds, I receive 2 charges back instead of waiting for the ramp up time to get, to get the charges back. So if that makes sense. Next ability on my bar is Soothe. Really strong, spammable type of ability. What it does is you have to aim it. It's a telegraph that you have to aim at your allies. And it's a charge up spell, so that you can move while charging. What happens is charge 1 is essentially instant. If you press and release, you get an instant cast of it. And if you let it charge to charge 2, you get 1 side point. Heals a little bit more, and charge 3 is the most it will heal. And it gives you 2 side points. So it's a very cheap, inexpensive healing ability for us. So it's what your bread and butter will be as a builder for getting your side points up and getting ready for finishers, which I'll talk about in a minute. Yeah, it restores. What it does is it restores a health to yourself as well as 4 most injured allies. So it's a smart heal, provided you aimed it at those targets. But yeah, I take the tier 4 to reduce the charge time by 0.5 seconds. So it's a 2-second charge, or excuse me, 1.5 second, I suppose. Charge, same as Mind Over Body. But heals for more, and Mind Over Body only heals 1 target, and at my current support power, it's just under 3,000 health. So whereas opposed to Soothe is better in this case in every case, because it heals you and 4 more people. And generates more side points, provided you can charge it up. You know what I mean? So the tier 4, like I said, reduce the cast time or charge time, and the tier 8 applies a heal over time on the spell as well. And depending on which charge, it shows you that basically it heals 1 second for 4 seconds, so you get 4 ticks out of it. And based off the charge level you're at, you're obviously going to do more healing over time. So not a bad ability, and like I said, it's cheap, it's inexpensive, and easy to use. Takes some time to get used to aiming it, though. I will say that. Alright, so next ability I have on my bar is Reverie. This is our finisher. This is the primary finisher and probably the only finisher I would ever use. Regardless of the dungeon and regardless of, the mechanics the boss will do. This is like just really strong heal. So it's also our strongest hitting heal right now. Basically what it does is restores health to yourself and 9 party members. So being in a dungeon, obviously you're not going to heal 9 people, but you can guarantee that you can hit 5, provided they're in the telegraph range, which is 25 meters. Pretty large. Alright, so what it does is depending on how many psi points you have, determines how much focus usage it will take, as well as how much healing it will give, if that makes sense. So I take the tier 4 to allow me that, in the situation where allies are below 35% health, based off the amount of psi points I have when I use this spell, I can heal for an additional percent, if that makes sense. You can sort of read it. It says restore an additional 6, 12, 18, 25, or 30% health to allies below 35% health. So, a little bit confusing, but it's also pretty strong. Let me see. I didn't take the tier 8 in with this ability because I just honestly don't think the beacon buff that it gives you, which is increases incoming health healing by 10% for 5 seconds. It's good until it gets to the 5-second part. This 5 seconds is not a lot of time for the amount of ability points that you end up spending on it. So it's a good, it is a good tier 8, but I'd like to see the duration increased to something like maybe 10 seconds would be kind of cool. Then it would be, in my opinion, worth maybe taking. But yeah, that's our finisher. I mean, like I said, you have other finishers available to you, but there's 2 problems. Well, the main problem with Mending Banner is this. It heals 1 target, right? And it's, again, based off the amount of psi points that you have. Determines how much focus it takes, determines how much health it heals. But the biggest problem I have with this ability is that, say for example, a target is behind you. In other words, you're not facing them. It won't go off. You have to face the target to use this. So, I don't see a situation where it would be good to have this, honestly. Maybe PvP, I don't know. But, the amount of healing it does compared to the amount of healing Reverie does, it heals for a little bit more, obviously. But Reverie heals much more. Because it's 5 times, in my case, almost 6,500 health. So that's a lot of fucking healing. So yeah, I don't see a reason why you'd use Mending Banner in that case. Mental Boon. The problem I have with Mental Boon is it does not heal for a whole hell of a lot. And the problem you have is not so much that, well, basically tanks get chunked now. And especially like tanks in dungeons, because you're it's one of those things where if you're pugging, you're likely to get a tank that doesn't know what he's doing or isn't optimized or geared. So running Mental Balloon, since it's like a heal over time, essentially, doesn't really help the fact that the biggest problem you have healing in dungeons is burst damage going on the tank or other allies. So it's doesn't scale real good though either. I can't remember if I said that, but mental boon's pretty bad, and it's nowhere near as good as Reverie. Okay. I think I talked about enough of that. The next setup I would do is Pyrokinetic Tier 4. Essentially what this ability is it can be used on enemies. You throw it on enemies and it creates a field around them. And it does like a dot damage, but also allies who stand in that field get healed. So you do a little bit of AoE healing. It's instant cast above 2 side points. Kind of cool. So what happened with this spell was they increased the amount the Tier 4 gives you from 5% to 6% now. That's the buff is Assault and Support Power buff. So it's pretty nice for dungeons and quick clearing. And you add a little damage to your mix, so it's not bad. Yeah, I think that's about it with that spell. Like I said, you have to land it on targets, enemies, in order to get the field to actually proc. Cool thing about this ability is the buff that it gives is, you know, it's when the buff becomes active is when they receive a heal. So if in the range, you know, if you can kind of coordinate with the range, it'd be like, hey, you know, if you stand in this buff, you're going to do more damage. They'd be like, oh, shit, okay, well, let me stand in that buff. But it's based off of how many... The buff comes up when they get healed. And stays up for 4 seconds. So it's tick, 4 seconds, tick, 4 seconds buff. And like I said, due to the fact that... you know, the way my amps are set up, which I'll talk about in another video, basically means that I can keep 100% uptime of that buff. So, pretty nice. Alright, so next ability is Fixation. Fixation is an absolute awesome skill. What it does is reduce all, the Tier 4 does reduce all cooldowns by 60% and generates 3 psi points. Also, what the Tier 4 does is it generates 10 focus every second for 12 seconds, so you get focus back even more by having a Tier 4 here. So yeah, depending on you know how good you are at healing with the Esper, you know, and again, I'll probably talk about a little bit more about this in other videos. But you're able to get off a lot of burst healing in the case that your allies take a lot of damage or boss mechanic does a lot of damage by essentially popping this with, say, Bolster or Soothe and getting some burst healing out. So it's really nice to have this ability available for us. It does have a long cooldown, so it's kind of a cooldown you have to learn to manage properly in order to do good healing. Alrighty. I take 2 interrupts because I feel like you need to bring something else other than, especially in dungeons, to help out and get those moments of opportunity and do more damage and burn through targets quickly. So I take 2 interrupts. This last ability I currently have as a movement ability. However, you feel free to change these around based off of, say, if you need a cleanse, you go Carthus. If you need a CC break, you go Fade Out. In the rare occasion, I don't think I've ever used this, honestly, anymore. in dungeons. Well, I'll take that back. I actually used it on the big bot dude in KV on his ads or whatever that come out and chase a target. Restraint's not too bad to throw on your bar as well. Shockwave's a good alternative for another interrupt. However, you have to be in melee range to do this. So, I don't know. I suppose if your tank's complaining that your incapacitate's making all the targets run away, then maybe switch to Shockwave as an alternative to still bring 2 interrupts. So, yeah, Geist I would never really take because it essentially builds threat, which you don't really need as a healer. It does damage, okay, cool, but it's just in general used for leveling, honestly. Same thing with Meditate, it's not really needed. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the healing Esper, especially even now, is still a cheap, inexpensive healing class that still has the ability to put out as much, if not better, healing, especially burst healing, as the other 2 classes. So it's pretty freaking sweet. So some of you might be asking the question, well, why did you choose to go to Soothe Tier 8 and not Reverie Tier 8? And just to make myself clear, these are builders. Bolster's a builder, Soothe's a builder, Pyrokinetic Flame's a builder, Fixation is a builder, because it gives you 3 side points. But the reason I didn't go to Tier 8 Reverie was simply because, like I said, the buff beacon gives you for 5 seconds is not a long time. And any healing Esper will be using Soothe a lot, spamming it like crazy, due to the fact that, I mean, you know, you can instantly spam this and there's no cooldown if you instant spam it. And, you know, it's just one of those things I figured I get the most out of Tier 8ing Soothe since I'm using it all the time. But that's going to wrap up pretty much my dungeon build setup that I run now. In the next video, I'm going to talk about some raid setup builds and kind of maybe we'll learn something together. You know, so anyway, hope this was helpful for you guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks again, guys, for stopping by. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Peace out.